At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, SiriusXM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago. We are on the air until 3 Eastern. You can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Lots going on, Abdalla. Today is the final day of the NFL annual meetings. Most teams and most owners have already left Arizona. There are a few still hanging around, still talking to the media. Some more news to come out of the league meetings taking place in Phoenix, Arizona. And most notably, there's a lot going on right now because obviously what we've seen from the owners this week is a push to try and convince everyone under the sun that an 18-game schedule is needed. It will happen, and at some point, we are going towards the 18-game schedule.
Yeah, and now I would like to invoke the term that maybe those of us listening, those of you listening have heard, maybe those of you listening have heard in passing, maybe if your significant others watch a lot of, I know your significant other watches a lot of Bravo shows, watches a lot of these. The term gaslighting. Have you heard?
Talking about Bravo, I mean, you know, the latest with Amanda this week. My God.
Stop.
From Summer House.
I don't want to give you the Bravo minute.
Well, listen, I wasn't watching it. I was passing through the living room and heard quite the kerfuffle going on because of.
Because of doing this. Oh my God, my mic thing came off. I was doing the drive-by. The Bravo drive-by, and my mic thing came off. Anyway,
so what were you going to say about gaslighting? Yes, you're right. Every housewife, every show on Bravo, everything that
everybody's
every person
being
says
gaslit.
is, I'm being gaslit.
Even though
gaslighting.
I feel like when you say the word, you need to define it, because I don't think that everybody knows the exact definition of gaslighting, right?
Correct.
It seems like the owners are trying to convince the players that 18 games are good for them, right?
Yes.
And that would be gaslighting, right? No, this is good.
It's what you think.
Yeah, this is what you.
This is what you want.
This is good for you. This is going to be good for you. This is good for your knees. Your knees are going to love this.
Yeah, sure.
It's going to mean more money. Well, what do you mean? My salary is not going to change. I signed a deal last year. I just signed X amount of dollars this year. If you introduce 18 games in 2027, my money's doesn't change. It's just divided up by 18 and not 17. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
I don't get more money. I get more money when I sign a new deal. That's different. But as of right now, the money doesn't change. So don't tell me, Jerry Jones, that I'm going to be getting more money, because as of right now, all of the contracts that were just signed in this free agency period and last year's free agency period, none of those are going to change. No more money is going to be added to that pool of money, to those contracts, if you go to 18 games. And the new Super Bowl that is going to be taking place in Atlanta in 2027 for that season, and then for the 2028 season in Las Vegas, doesn't have a date yet because the owners are trying to push this 18-game season through for the 2027 season. The new season that is upon us in 2026 that is going to be starting very soon here, very shortly. It's not that close, but it feels very close because the draft is like 3 weeks away. It's very, very close.
How much caffeine did you have today before
the
show?
A full Celsius, man.
I feel like can we pause the NFL conversation? You are hopped up because I
gotta drive us to Indianapolis after this.
Well, that's true. We today the Bleck Abdalla show. We will return to the football conversation, absolutely. But today on the Bleck Abdalla show, we are having a full day together. We've already
a full weekend, few days.
But we got together this morning to go pick up the rental car. So we've been together before the show about an extra hour to an hour and a half more than we usually have before the show when we're prepping here in the studios. Yeah. And so we've seen a lot of each other already. And after the show, the moment we go off the air and we hand the baton to Jim Rome at 3 Eastern, the very moment we go off the air, we're jumping in the rental car and we're driving south down to Indianapolis. Yep. And if we leave the moment that the show ends, I think we can get down there in under 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, with traffic, it's usually like a 3.5 hour to 4 hour drive.
I'm going to have to stop and get gas and pee, though.
Well, okay, that's fine. That's a little too much information. You can just say
I'm just telling
a
you.
break.
Well, I mean, you see how fast I'm talking.
No, I know.
The caffeine, the Celsius.
Maybe we can get maybe we can pass by a Five Guys on the way. Maybe
Absolutely.
Maybe
I'm going to need some extra fries.
A cheeseburger, perhaps. Some consolation fries to make the trip. But
well, the consolation is for you because you have to drive with me to Indianapolis. So that's the consolation for you.
Here's my point. From Chicago, downtown Chicago, if we leave at 2 o'clock Central, which is 3 Eastern, I think we can get down there by 5 o'clock, which would be 6 o'clock Eastern. I think we could do that.
I think we could too.
3 hours, I think we can do that this afternoon.
Yeah.
But with that said, that means today's show, for me mentally, is more like hosting a 6-hour show with you today.
Yeah.
Because we are jumping in the car the moment the show ends for another 3 hours. We're already in a room together for 3 hours for the radio show.
Yeah.
So we are going to spend a lot. We have 2 shows today.
Yeah.
I've got to come up with extra content to keep you occupied as we're driving
down.
You're
getting so much Zoo news between now and the time we get to Indianapolis. It's going to be great.
Right. I'm sorry to interrupt. You were on a roll.
I was.
You're hopped up on caffeine. You're talking about an 18-game schedule.
I'm trying to figure
in the
out
NFL.
what's real and what's not here with NFL news that's going on.
So as we're talking about the NFL, there is also a story that's published out there that we are bringing up because we are skeptical that this is a real story. Yes. And I get it. Every non-funny dude in the world today is getting off all of their April Fool's jokes. We get it.
Yes.
We get it. You think you're creative. Congratulations.
No.
You're not funny.
Oh, April Fools.
Every office has a guy. Every office has
Nobody
someone
likes that guy
who thinks that it's, guess what? We're all doing this now. And then they tell you something, and then you open up the donuts that they brought, and there's celery sticks.
I saw that online today.
That's where I got it from.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Sammy P just tweeted that out. I saw that. Shout out to Sam.
Shout out Sam.
Love Panayonovich. Here's what. So every office has a guy who thinks that they're funny.
Okay.
And so April Fool's jokes are all over the place.
They're all over.
There is a story in the NFL that was published by a real source, which when you read the headline, you have to pause.
I will read it.
You have to pause and say, is this real or is this absolute BS on April Fool's Day?
Yes.
So what is the headline?
I will also read it, okay? And I will read it to you, and I will read you the nugget in the story. From Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio.
So this is a column that Mike Florio has published on Pro Football Talk with his name attached as if he's the one that wrote this.
Broncos emerge as a potential option for Aaron Rodgers. I'll read it again. The Broncos have emerged as a potential option for quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you remember, Bo Nix broke his ankle.
Yep.
He could not play in the AFC Championship game.
Yep.
Jared Stidham played. The Patriots won. They went to the Super Bowl.
Well, and then on top of it, we also know, we talked about it yesterday here on the show, Aaron Rodgers has not told the Steelers that he's coming back yet.
He's on the phone with Mike McCarthy all the time.
Every day. McCarthy says he talks to Aaron Rodgers, but Rodgers is not committed to the Steelers for this upcoming season. So that's the headline that's out there. It was published, about 40 minutes ago?
Here's what it says. There's talk of the Broncos possibly bringing Rodgers in for a visit. The motivation comes from the possibility that the current starter, Bo Nix, won't be fully and completely back to 100% when week 1 rolls around. I scroll a little bit further, so I don't read you the entire thing. It's all very early, and it's not an April Fool's Day gag. The Broncos could be turning to Rodgers at a time when the Steelers have assumed the position for the second straight offseason.
Okay. So that's out there.
That's there, man.
If it's real, it's worthy of talking about. If it's an April Fool's joke, that sucks.
Now, that being said, every single Denver reporter has said this is not real.
Okay, so Mike Kliss covers the Broncos. He is well known in the Denver area, one of the best that covers the team. He tweeted out about 49 minutes ago, the report that the Broncos have interest in Aaron Rodgers must be an April Fool's joke. Sources say, quote, 0%, end quote, chances of happening. So you have reporters in Denver pushing back on it. There's also this interesting piece of information to add to the Broncos conversation. Jordan Schultz, who's also an NFL reporter, tweeted this out today, saying that a nugget that has come out of the NFL owner meetings this week, and this is what he writes. Not only is Broncos quarterback Bo Nix a full go for the team's offseason program with zero limitations, fully recovered from ankle surgery, he's actually further along than typically someone would be in the offseason conditioning program per sources.
He's been drinking his milk.
So when you cobble all of this together, right? You and I are skeptical of a lot of stuff, especially on days like today when every guy in the office thinks he's funny. You're not funny. Now, in the article,
it says
Florio is pointing out that this is not an April Fool's deal, which I appreciate. And it would lead me to believe that this is actually something he is reporting, that he's hearing that the Broncos could be interested in Aaron Rodgers, which is wild.
It is. And also there's the Denver Broncos athletic reporter, Nick Kosmider, also says Aaron Rodgers is not coming to Denver for a visit. When the Broncos take the field to start OTAs, they will be quarterbacked by Bo Nix. That's OTAs. That's not even the start of week one. That's the offseason training program, which starts right after the draft. That's like May, June stuff. That's not even week one of the season, which is end of August, September. Like, this is May and June for the OTAs. So if he's farther along than scheduled with his ankle rehab, then I don't know why, unless Aaron Rodgers is doing this because he doesn't like the offer he's getting from the Steelers.
It could be that. It could also be, we know that the Denver Broncos are one of the best teams in football.
Yeah.
He would have a much greater chance at winning a Super Bowl in Denver than he would Pittsburgh.
Well, and also, remember how the season ended in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
The back and forth between Sean Payton and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And how Sean Payton said
a little icy
that the Bo Nix broken ankle was inevitable. And this was something that was it was a matter of if and not when with his broken ankle.
He also said he had multiple surgeries in the past.
And
then Bo Nix
said,
was like, no, that didn't happen.
That's not how it was. I broke my ankle with an injury. That's not what happened.
Oh, it would not surprise me. Based on that, having that type of friction, it would not surprise me if a team pivoted and then traded the player. It wouldn't surprise. Would that shock you off of what we heard at the end of the season?
That would be.
You know how this stuff works?
That would be crazier than the Max Crosby trade, no trade.
Yeah, it'd be wild.
That would be
for sure
crazier than Max Crosby going to Baltimore and then saying, nope, back in Vegas.
We covered it here on the show that there was friction.
Yeah.
And so it is something to keep your eyes on. Again, I just want to make sure that anyone listening to the Bleck and Abdalla show understands. If this is some kind of joke from Florio,
we do not accept.
Well, it's lame.
The chicanery.
Well, it's lame.
Yes.
But if this is real, it is definitely something to pay attention to. And you're right. Perhaps it's Rodgers and Rodgers' people trying to get some, appetite in the marketplace for him. So then the Steelers have to come back and offer him something better to be their quarterback this upcoming season. There's not many options. Unless you manufacture something in a spot where there's a guy and maybe there's some friction. Like for Aaron Rodgers, it's the Steelers or not playing is what I thought it was.
Yeah, and I will reiterate from Mike Florio, it's all very early and it's not an April Fool's gag. That's what Mike Florio is saying. He is the only one reporting this.
Yes.
And normally when there's one,
yeah, they kind of all...
There's more than one. Normally you get a Jeremy Fowler or an Adam Schefter, an Ian Rappaport, Even a Jordan Schultz will say something else, but there's more.
He's out on an island.
He's
right
out
now.
by himself.
Yes.
He's out by himself, Mike Florio, with just this. And he says it's not April Fool's. Okay. Today's not the day, dude.
You're right.
Today is not the day.
Maybe you should have hit send, tomorrow.
Today's not the day. Like you could. Last night would have been the day. Like last night.
Yeah.
This could have been a 9 o'clock like news dump last night.
So I mean, it's also one of those things where I could see someone saying that, yeah, maybe it's a consideration for them if this and if that and if something else takes place. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers could be considered as a starting quarterback for the Broncos. I could see that type of thing. Like if he has to backtrack and say that, oh, that's not really what I was pointing to. I'm just saying, like, maybe they would think of it. Because he's not reporting that the Broncos are going after Aaron Rodgers.
Well, look, if the
he's
reports,
saying it's an option.
But here's the problem. If the reports were the opposite of what we were hearing about Bo Nix, if we were hearing that there were setbacks in his rehab, if we were hearing that when we got, if Aaron Rodgers were truly going to wait until June, like we had heard a couple days ago, that the timeline was the same as last year, and that when Bo Nix had come in for OTAs, that, I don't know, guys, he's not as ready as we may have thought. And the ankle rehab is not as going to plan. And sources are saying this, and sources are saying week 1 is now turning into week 5 or week 6. And now you're hearing Aaron Rodgers is now flirting with the Broncos too. That I would understand. This is completely out of nowhere with the Broncos because from the reports yesterday, from his own mouth, like it's not even, oh, this person said that Mike McCarthy is staying late up at night with his phone after his parents go to sleep.
Yeah, no.
You know, doing the phone thing with Aaron Rodgers like you do when you used to call your crush. When you used to call your crush at night and pick up after, you know, when they used to ring one, you used to be like, hello? Before just
Mr. Rogers, is Aaron there? I'd love to talk to him.
I'd love to talk to him. Or you wait till they go to bed and you try to pick up off the first, just so it rings. Hello?
See, kids today don't understand
get it,
what that was
man.
all about. Everyone has their own cell phone, except if you're the Kelseys. Don't the Kelseys do, our favorite people, don't they do the kitchen phone?
They still got a house with a
kitchen phone?
long cord.
Hey,
long cord on the phone.
There's nothing wrong with the long cord.
Long cord on the phone here, like, hello?
Sometimes you need the long cord, Abdalla.
I mean, I'm not here to cord judge. But yeah, if he's up having late night conversations with Rodgers, how do you think he feels today? You think he's on the phone first? With Rodgers being like, what's going on?
So we'll keep our eyes on this developing story.
If you want to call it that.
If it's real. If it's real. Art Rooney spoke yesterday, Steelers owner. When does he expect Aaron Rodgers to make a decision? We'll talk about that coming up next.
The NFL Draft is less than a month away, and we will take you behind the curtain, literally live from Pittsburgh for the 2026 Draft with exclusive interviews of your team's picks from your home of the NFL, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
We're keeping our eyes on a story that's out there from Pro Football Talk from Mike Florio. He puts in the story, this is not an April Fool's joke. So proceed with caution on this, but this is what Florio is saying on Pro Football Talk. The Broncos emerge as a potential option for Aaron Rodgers. So we will continue to follow along with this and see if that is something that actually will take place and whether or not the Broncos are actually interested in trying to lure Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback for this upcoming season. There's so many questions that go with that, right? Like the Bo Nix side of things. Is there actually friction between he and Sean Payton from the end of the season? Is his ankle okay? Jordan Schultz is on social media saying that the ankle is not only okay, but Bo Nix is ahead of schedule in his rehab. Coming back for this season, won't miss any time in this offseason program for the Broncos. So it is something to keep our eyes on. The other side of the Aaron Rodgers story, it's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, is how are the Steelers handling this situation with Aaron Rodgers? Why has he not told them yet whether or not he's going to play or whether or not he's going to retire? My belief, Abdalla, is that he is going to play. Otherwise, we would have known by this point. And especially now, if it's a true story that the Broncos are lurking, then he's playing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to play this year if that's the case. If now another team is sniffing around Aaron Rodgers, trying to see if he's going to play this year. So with the situation overall with Pittsburgh, they're kind of stuck. They don't have a quarterback of the future. They've got a couple of guys who are backup quality. And what do they do with the draft? How are they going to try and win games this upcoming season?
There's a few options for the Steelers, and I think that there's a few options for Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he's got the Steelers, and then now the Broncos have emerged. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, unless you're getting the assurance from Sean Payton that either A, you're going to be the quarterback the entire year, regardless of whether or not Bo Nix is healthy, or B, he's going to be off the team, why would you go to the Broncos? You want to win, and you want to be the guy that wins.
You mean Pittsburgh?
No. The Broncos.
The Broncos are good. That's why you would go there.
Yeah, but
to
you don't
win.
I understand that, but you don't want to go and start for 2 weeks, and then Bo Nix is healthy, and then you're the backup.
That's why I was.
That's my point here.
I was laying out a scenario that if that was the domino to fall, there's no way Bo Nix is returning.
That's my point. Like, you need the assurance
the Broncos would be trading Bo Nix.
You need the assurance that Bo Nix is going to be like a backup because Sean Payton hasn't seen something or whatever, or he's getting traded, right? Like,
Listen,
that's the only reason.
If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would in 1 second think about it and trade.
Oh, take my picks.
If you sign Aaron Rodgers, but if you sign Aaron Rodgers and trade him to Denver for Bo Nix, I would take Bo Nix.
Oh, absolutely. Like
that. That would be good for the Steelers.
Oh, if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm looking at Bo Nix like he's a plate of pancakes and waffles at the coach's breakfast. Are you kidding me? If I get my hands on that to develop, are you kidding me?
Sorry, I pictured Mike McCarthy eating, but just without bites, just
he's
the
looking
entire
at
plate.
Mike
right
McCarthy
up.
doesn't Mike McCarthy. I
like a cartoon.
There's someone years ago, someone had a tweet that I can never get out of my mind whenever I see something like this. But Mike McCarthy would look like Bo Nix, like someone that in the office that looks at a box of donuts that goes, "Don't mind if I do."
That's Levitard.
Yeah,
From the Levitard show.
Yeah, don't mind if I do. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
one of the best.
Yeah,
ever.
He would do that, and he would be like, "Oh, Bo Nix, don't mind if I do," and that would be perfect. So for the Steelers, you have a bunch of options, and I think that Albert Breer laid it out, and none of us thought about this. Kirk Cousins is sitting right there. And I know that Kirk Cousins is not as good as Aaron Rodgers. He had 10 touchdowns last year. He had 5 interceptions in 8 starts. I understand that. He's not as good as Aaron Rodgers. It's not a good option. However, you just signed and extended Michael Pittman. You have DK Metcalf. You have a decent offensive line. You have a good defense. You are going to compete in that division. You are probably going to make the playoffs as a wild card. You have a chance to make the playoffs as a wild card. The Ravens are more than likely going to win that division. So you're looking at a wild card spot because you can be better than the Bengals. And so if you're going to make the playoffs as a wild card, you can probably do it with Kirk Cousins if the offense and everything starts to flow. I would still draft Ty Simpson or someone and start the development process of that quarterback if I'm the Steelers and I'm Mike McCarthy. But I don't think that Kirk Cousins is a horrible second option if this whole thing with Aaron Rodgers. And if he does go to the Broncos, then the first thing I'm doing if I'm the Steelers is I'm on the phone with the Broncos and figuring out how many picks it's going to take to trade for Bo Nix.
Steelers owner Art Rooney talked about this yesterday in Phoenix at the NFL meetings. Here's Rooney on Aaron Rodgers.
I have not talked to him. Coach has been in contact with him pretty regularly, and I think the decision is probably coming soon.
Do you anticipate hearing one way or the other by the NFL draft?
I would say by the draft, I expect an answer, yep.
So there you go. Art Rooney, he expects an answer by the draft. I would hope so, because the Steelers need to know how to proceed with this situation. You laid it out. Sure, they could draft a quarterback and have Aaron Rodgers back, but I think the organization would prefer to know what Rodgers is doing before they enter in draft picks and trying to figure out how they're going to kind of go about the NFL draft this year.
Yeah, but either way, I don't think what happens with Aaron Rodgers determines what they're going to do in the draft as far as quarterbacks go. You're not drafting Ty Simpson and starting him. You're not going to the playoffs with Ty Simpson as your quarterback. You're just not. So it's either Kirk Cousins or it's Aaron Rodgers or it's maybe trading for Bo Nix if Aaron Rodgers decides to go if this Florio report is real and he ends up in Denver, or you're trading for another backup somewhere that you think is going to be your quarterback. Or, I mean, Derek Carr is out there and wants to play for a contender. I'm just giving you options. Because at that point,
sir, I don't like your options.
I don't like them either. But if Kirk Cousins is the best option out there, what else are you supposed to do? You've kind of painted yourself into a corner by waiting this long for Aaron Rodgers to make his decision. You made no other moves in the offseason, in free agency here, and now you're stuck with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard.
You can call and text the show at 310-840-4910. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. We will be in Indianapolis tomorrow and Friday, broadcasting live from noon to 3 Eastern from the Radio Row Final Four situation down there in Indy. Can't wait. We're going to drive down this afternoon. Can't wait for the games also on Saturday. Did you see this? This is from the Sports Media Watch. Sunday's UConn-Duke NCAA men's basketball tournament regional final averaged 13.4 million viewers on CBS. It's up 15% over the game last year at that same time, which was Michigan State and Auburn, which averaged 11.7 million viewers. It's the third largest audience for any individual game prior to the Final Four since 2021, since the hiatus before that season. So as of late, the fact that that game obviously is all-time classic, all-time finish. You know, Mullins hitting the three from 35 feet to advance to knock off Duke. Like, what a 19-point comeback. The terrible turnover from Boozer at midcourt. All the excitement of that game. Ratings up 15%. And we've seen the ratings for the NCAA tournament overall up because I think there's a level of interest for this year's tournament based on the coverage throughout the season. A lot of good teams, a lot of great stories, some guys who we know are going to get to the next level in the NBA and be very good. So I think it all comes together with big ratings this time of year, and you can always listen to our coverage here on Westwood One Sports on the Westwood One Sports app, and we will have the Final Four, the championship game, and everything in between live from Indianapolis this weekend on the Westwood One Sports app.
I also think people complained about not having a Cinderella, but you had known schools in the Elite Eight, in the Sweet 16. Like, yeah, it's Cinderellas are fun, but the ratings are up this year more than ever. And I think it's because you had known schools and you had higher seeds in this tournament that actually made for, I know that there were blowouts, and the Duke UConn game was the only really tight game of the Elite Eight. But regardless of that, you still had everybody at least tuning in for the beginning of these games because you had elite schools in this. I mean, look at the East bracket that we talked about. We spent a lot of time talking about that bracket between Duke and St. John's and Michigan State and UConn. Like, you can't ask for better matchups than that. If you would have put a Cinderella in there, if USF at an 11 seed would have replaced Michigan State against UConn, no thank you. I'm sorry. But the fact that you had Michigan State and UConn in a game, like, I know it ended up being, that was a close game. Like, that was a good game. Having the Cinderellas is fun, but people want to see elite teams make it through to the tournament when it gets close like this on the second weekend of the tournament. They just do.
Well, I think some of that, though, is here's the perspective on it. Seeing Cinderellas is for the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past the first weekend and you get to the Sweet 16, you want the Blue Bloods and the known products moving on. So, if you want, here's the thing. No fan cares about the ratings. No one cares.
No.
The only reason I bring it up is for the historical perspective, comparing it to past years and the interest level. But like, no fan is sitting around going, I'm going to watch tonight's game because it's going to be highly rated. They need my eyeballs. No one's thinking that.
No, but if you go into a game and you know it's UConn and Michigan State,
well, it's a known product, and that's why.
But if I told you it was UConn and USF, you might be like, well, UConn's going to blow them out. I don't need to watch that game.
Because we're speaking to the casual person who is just picking up a March Madness bracket for their office pool, and they're not watching college basketball throughout the year, but they know UConn is a team that people always mention. Duke's a team that people dislike and people mention. And so, like, when you get to the later rounds of the tournament, you want the big dogs. But the first two rounds, you want upsets. That's the magic of March Madness, is getting the, quote, madness. When it's just chalk, there's nothing maddening about the chalk except it's tough to get off your hands.
Okay. All right.
What is I'm being serious.
What is it? Like you're making a newspaper joke here?
No, I'm saying, like, you've written in chalk on like
I have written in chalk
before.
Yes, I
guess
I know.
It gets all over your hands.
That's why I prefer whiteboards. Yeah.
But my point holds. When the first 2 days of the tournament were not chaotic, it was not madness. It was like,
no, you had some buzzer beaters. You had a couple upsets.
You had a couple 12 seeds. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't crazy. It could have Siena. If Siena would have taken down Duke, that would have been the chaos game.
Yes.
But we didn't really get that.
I still think it's been a great tournament.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm just saying that you want the upsets and the chaos early, but when you get to the Elite Eight, Final Four championship game, you want the big teams, the teams that everyone knows.
Yeah, I think it's delivered.
Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports. You can always call the show, 310-840-4910. That's where Ray in Chicago calls from. What's up, Ray?
Hey, boys. How you guys doing today, man?
Good. Well, good, man. What do you think of the Aaron Rodgers situation?
Well, very quick. Let me just say this because I have a thing about Pittsburgh. Only Aaron Rodgers could literally try to ruin two franchises in less than a month. Because if he goes to Pittsburgh, he's holding them up. And now, Bo Nix, and let's say he goes there. Well, he's only going to be there a year, and Bo Nix is going to want out. So congrats, Aaron Rodgers. You did it again. What a jerk.
What a jerk.
So here's my thing about this. I was thinking about this other day. Regardless of this new thing where they get Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers, what do you guys think of this? I think this is the year that Pittsburgh – I don't know about Ty Simpson. I'm not even sold on Mendoza. I think Mendoza is the next Sam Bradford for whatever reason. Think about that. But if they're going to make a move, why don't they try to trade up to one this year? Look, it's going to be cheaper than trying to move up next year with all the quarterbacks. Pittsburgh wants to be competitive, so they're not going to draft high next year. And maybe you can sell the Raiders on waiting until next year where they'll have a low pick and there'll be better quarterbacks coming up. Maybe this is the year they just need to go for the gusto. Get Mendoza. You got McCarthy who can, groom Mendoza to be, a solid QB if that's what he's capable of. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that, gentlemen. So have a safe road trip, and
Thanks, man.
I'll listen to your thoughts. Yeah, man. Bye.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate the phone call. Ray in Chicago. You can always join us at 310-840-4910.
So moving up from 21 to 1 and how many picks you would have to move up, you'd have to give up. Obviously, you'd have to swap this year's first for their first. You'd have to give up next year's first. And would you have to give up 2028's first round pick as well? We're talking 3 years of first round pick. Like, obviously this first round pick, I think it's
Fernando Mendoza is not
worth it. I don't think it is. And the problem with Ray brings up a good point, though. The Steelers have just never been bad enough because Tomlin has never been under 500 since his tenure there to be bad enough to get an elite quarterback since Roethlisberger left. They're always kind of in this like middle ground where you have to wait for Aaron Rodgers. And the problem is this year, like no one thinks they're going to win the AFC. Rodgers comes back. Are you picking them to win the AFC?
Steelers? No.
Okay, so what's going to happen?
No.
They're probably going to, if they
I'm not
win.
going to pick them to win the division.
Okay, so you're going to pick them to win a playoff game.
I'm not going to pick them to make the playoffs.
Okay, So,
Like, I'm already thinking, like, Baltimore and Cincinnati, I'm thinking Cincinnati's sneaking back into the playoffs.
So
that's
case-
already 2 teams out of that division.
best case scenario, they win 8 or 9 games. They
Yep.
don't make the playoffs or they make it as a wild card. That's their ceiling. They draft Ty Simpson and they develop him into a capable quarterback for next season because they're not going to be in the mix for any of the capable quarterbacks next year. Again, they're just where they are and where they've been for the last 20 years.
We're sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. There is still some smoke coming out of the Chicago area in regards to Billy Donovan and how that could affect the North Carolina Tar Heels. We will update you on the latest situation going on with Donovan and the Tar Heels' search for a head coach coming up next.
The Final Four is set. Illinois versus UConn. Michigan against Arizona. It all starts Saturday at 5 Eastern. And your countdown to tip starts right here, right now, from your home of the NCAA tournament. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
The Final Four is this weekend. We will see in the first matchup Illinois and UConn. Second matchup Arizona and Michigan. And also in college basketball, one of the major storylines is North Carolina firing Hubert Davis. They're still looking for a replacement for Davis as their next head coach. Many believe that Tommy Lloyd and Dusty May have a chance to get the job after this weekend based on whatever the outcome is, whether or not it's winning a national title or maybe losing on Saturday, not getting to the championship game. Could one, Lloyd or May, bounce from their schools, Michigan and Arizona? And it feels like those are the two names because outside of that, there really hasn't been any movement and any conversation about this North Carolina job this week. It does feel like we're in a holding pattern right now to see how this weekend plays out and whether or not one of those two will take the gig. Will Lloyd leave Arizona, whether or not they win or they don't? We also were talking about it, the quote from the other day, which was a little cryptic from Lloyd on someday you're always gonna have a good coach if someone replaces me.
Yeah, and I think that when you're waiting for possibly 2 seasons to end, right? You're waiting for the college basketball season to end, whether it's Lloyd or May, and you're also possibly waiting for the NBA season to end because there might be a candidate who has a couple weeks left on their current situation in the NBA regular season. Not necessarily playoffs because their team is not going to the playoffs.
So that's where we find the third possible candidate for North Carolina in this job, and that would be Billy Donovan, the head coach for the Chicago Bulls. Now, we broadcast each and every day from Chicago. We follow the team. They're my favorite basketball team. They're terrible. Right now, they're 29-46 on the season. On Monday, they lost to the Spurs. They were non-competitive in the game, and really, they haven't been competitive the entire season. They waited to tank too long. Now they are tanking, but they didn't tank hard enough. So they're going to be in the lotto, but they don't have great chances at landing a top 4 pick. The Chicago Bulls have 7 games left of this season. The NBA season ends on April the 12th. Will North Carolina be willing to wait an additional week beyond next week following the NCAA championship and the Final Four to wait for the NBA season to wrap up to see what happens with the Bulls and Billy Donovan? And this is where we find an interesting tidbit that was in the Chicago Sun-Times yesterday from Joe Cowley. And Cowley's the best on the Bulls and the stuff going on with the Reinsdorf organizations, both the White Sox as well. Cowley writes in his column, so the column he wrote yesterday was about the Jaden Ivey fiasco. And the headline says, Jaden Ivey fiasco sheds more light on the Bulls' failing front office. And it talks about how Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley have essentially, in their run here, running the Chicago Bulls, going on over 5 years, have done absolutely nothing. And every move that they've made has been bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's a paragraph buried in the column that was posted yesterday. If Karnisovas stays, there's a growing chance Donovan will leave at the end of the season. And then that would leave the Reinsdorfs with Karnisovas with a coaching search, a draft choice in the lottery, and free agency decisions to be made with the money that they have to spend in this offseason. So the tidbit, and you always got to follow along with what Cowley's putting out there. He's really good on this stuff. He had a column last week suggesting that he's hearing that Donovan might be done with putting up with all of this stuff going on in Chicago. And so I would ask North Carolina and college basketball fans, do you think, because here's the one perspective I would add from Chicago. I don't think the Bulls will make a move before the season ends. There's also been reports locally here in Chicago. 670 The Score has reported that there's possible big changes on the horizon for everyone in the front office. What that could be, who knows? The point I would make known to people is that I don't think the Bulls are the type of franchise to do something until the season is over, officially over, which means you would have to wait, if you're North Carolina, until at least April the 12th to pursue Billy Donovan.
Well, I also don't think that the Bulls would do anything unless they absolutely have to. Like, these guys aren't up for extensions. Their contracts aren't expiring. So what they would do if the reports are true, that big moves are on the horizon, that would be firing the front office. Yeah, I don't believe. I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
And that's what Cowley has pointed to in the Sun-Times in the last couple of weeks, that Billy Donovan would be interested in sticking around if he was a part of the organization that did not include Karnisovas and Eversley, who are the ones running the show. Which, as a Bulls fan, if you told me Billy Donovan was going to move into a role in the front office, he was going to find a new head coach, or he was going to work in tandem with a new front office,
I'm in.
I would be cool with it. I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he's gotten a raw deal here in Chicago.
For sure.
And I don't think the Bulls are actively trying, and that's not his fault.
I'm not saying that I don't believe anything Cowley is saying, because like you said, Cowley's the best in the business here. I believe everything Cowley is saying. That being said, I don't believe anything about the Bulls until I actually see it happen, because the Bulls don't do anything. I don't. The Bulls don't do anything. They don't. You know how many years they went without actually completing a trade?
Oh, yeah.
Like
they
how
sat
long?
out multiple seasons in this regime without making a move at the
trade deadline. Like not
one.
Not a single trade during the trade deadline.
Content.
And like they were in the play and they were in the mix and just like, no, we're good. We're not going to improve our roster whatsoever. So I don't believe, like, the move for them is usually stand pat. And if these guys are under contract, we're just going to continue to pay them until we don't have to. So until I see the release that says, or the breaking news that Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley have been relieved of their duties, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. I still believe that unless he's given complete control and some like president of basketball operations or whatever it is, I still believe it's in Billy Donovan's best interest to take the North Carolina job if they're willing to give it to him. Because I still believe that gives him the best option, regardless of if he has complete control of the Bulls roster and that kind of stuff. I don't think that they're going to give him the resources to build a competitive roster. They don't want to spend money. They don't want to complete the moves to bring the talent here. They've proven it over decades that they don't want to do it.
Yeah, and it's Michael Reinsdorf, Jerry's son, that runs the team, who chooses not to do anything. Bleck Abdalla is sponsored by Robinhood. You can expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Learn more and get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. So, yeah, Michael Reinsdorf and Jerry, at this point, they essentially act like they have no appetite for winning. So we'll keep our eyes on this situation with Billy Donovan. Can the Tar Heels wait him out? Bleck Abdalla will be back.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM channel 375. All of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago, on the air until 3 Eastern. You can always join us on our call or text line at 310-840-4910. Abdalla, is this, am I seeing this correctly on ESPN.com today? Is it a hit piece on Jalen Hurts?
Man.
Is that what this is on ESPN.com today?
Let me tell you
Problems
something.
with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts?
Let me tell you something. Inside the Eagles 2025 friction as Jalen Hurts stands at a crossroads is something I did not think I would be reading about. This piece is by Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler, and it is long and full of inside sources from inside the Philadelphia Eagles building.
Okay.
And it is not good for Jalen Hurts as far as, like, not anything that legally or anything like
It's
that.
not
Like,
scandalous.
no.
It's friction within coaches, players,
Exactly.
and football on the field.
Exactly. And look,
yes.
like this is also he's going through his fifth or sixth offensive coordinator in as many years, right? So like this is something with the turnover that Jalen Hurts is dealing with at offensive coordinator is something that is well documented. But this piece starts with one of the plays in the wild card game against the 49ers.
Okay.
And they wanted to run a play, and Hurts wanted to run a play called four verts. And if you've ever played Madden,
four verts.
Four verts
Let's
is
go.
a play.
Four verts. I'm throwing it up.
He wanted to run four verts.
Okay, so Jalen Hurts was dead set on running four verts.
And not everyone on the offense was thrilled. A quote from a team source was like, oh my God, this is not happening. We cannot run four verts.
That's quoted in the column.
From a team source.
What?
Okay. There is close observers point to a lack of creativity and synergy in the Eagles' attack. The pass game wasn't poorly timed to the run. There's levels of predictability that allows opposing defenses to get a beat on what's coming. That's critical of the offense in general. And we know that the Eagles' offense has had struggles. There was an entire half of football last year, Chris, that the Eagles didn't complete a pass. So there's no secret out there that the Eagles' offense struggled.
Yeah.
We didn't think it was because of Jalen Hurts. We thought it was because of friction between him and A.J. Brown. Maybe it was the changeover of offensive coordinator, and it didn't work well, right? But here's what there are some sources saying within the building about Jalen Hurts. He has pushed back on changes that would diversify the scheme, sources said, including when it comes to him going under center more. He has shown a reluctance to let it rip at times, particularly against zone coverage. He diverts from the game plan and changes play calls to what some feel is an excessive degree. His strong performances, coupled with the coach's efforts to play to his strength, which include his deep ball accuracy and throws to the perimeter, limit the breadth to which the offense can expand, or at least that's the way it has gone in the past. The rest of this is saying poor body language, not always bought in, not the most coachable, and the players notice, a team source said.
Okay, so the first question I have to ask is there more juicy items in this to pull out before I make this point?
A source close to Hurts said the QB needs coaches who will check him, opining that Hurts had too many yes people around him this past season. Okay. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in here. This thing is. I'm still scrolling. This is a term paper.
Well, I mean, you do have to say, in this run with Sirianni and the Eagles, Jalen Hurts has had two offensive coordinators who have then gone on to become head coaches.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, Shane Steichen and then also Kellen Moore are both head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he has had good coaches around him or guys who have gone on to become head coaches running the offense. And I know that they're going to have they'll have a new offensive coordinator this year, Sean Mannon.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so when I see a hit piece on a player like this, the first thing that I think of, and the quotes in the article are pointing to people in the building.
Yeah.
The first thing I think of is is this a coach or someone who's no longer with the team who's salty?
It says sources within the building. So I think that these are sources that are still in the building.
You would assume, right?
Yeah.
But
I know
usually-
what happens when I assume things. It makes an ass of Chris.
But sometimes in situations like this, when you see a hit piece on just a player like this,
It's usually people that have been let go.
Yeah, it didn't work out. They're no longer with the team, and now they have an axe to grind because what they're doing is they're currying favor where they give information. So then the next time said reporter, when there's a job opening, their name gets mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the sausage is made.
Mm-hmm.
If people are wondering how these things work behind the scenes, when you're giving up that information to said reporter, and then next year when there's a coaching search and you see a random name that no one expected to be in the mix, that's probably because that guy was a source before.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is.
Oh, yeah.
So I agree. Reading this from Jeremy Fowler, it does not appear as if this is coming from individuals who are no longer with the team.
Mm-hmm. Eagles offensive players know Hurts isn't afraid to change plays he doesn't like and must adjust accordingly. A team source said another separate team source also added, you never know what play is coming out of the huddle when Hurts is leading it, and in the past he has been known to signal a route and that hadn't been installed by the coaches.
So it's just something he's freelancing with the players on the field.
He's freelancing the offense. And Sean Mannion, it points out that Mannion is younger. He's 33. He's inexperienced, but very well regarded. So is this something that is going to continue because Hurts sees a younger, inexperienced guy coming in and he's going to continue this? Or he's going to say, okay, now we didn't win. We didn't have success last year. It's time to rein it in, and it's time to circle the wagons and get back, because we know Eagles fans wanted Sirianni fired, and then he won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Philly is a different place. The fans are fickle beasts. And I mean that very respectfully.
They're passionate, and they want to see winners.
Absolutely.
And I don't blame them.
I don't blame them at all either.
To their credit, they usually get them, too.
Exactly. So I think that this is also it's shocking, too, because the way that Jalen Hurts has been regarded is always, and it's true. I mean, you can't change it. The guy's a winner. The guy has won. He didn't win at Oklahoma, but he's won at basically every level he has been at.
And he's consistently gotten better from one year to the next. And when you point to that as the career grows, it's interesting that he is now thinking of himself as, I'm Peyton Manning, I'm Tom Brady, where they have the ability, because they are so good, they've played for so long, and they have such a command of an offense that, if they're freelancing, it's because they're the offensive coordinator. They're the ones running the show. I get that when Aaron Rodgers does stuff like that because he's that good. And he's done it for a long time. Last season, 16 games, a 64.8 completion percentage from Hurts, only 3,200 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He also ran last year for only 8 touchdowns, which outside of his rookie year, the 3 they had in his rookie year, he rattled off in 4 straight years, 10, 13, 15, and 14 rushing touchdowns per season.
Mm-hmm.
So the rushing touchdowns took a step back. His passing yardage took a step back from what the heights of it, what they were in 2022. He threw for 3,700 yards. He threw for 3,800 yards in 23. And last year, 32 while playing the 16 games. He did have 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. That's a great ratio.
Look, and last year it should have been 17 games because you and I, on our very first day on the fine Westwood Sports here, came in and absolutely Westwood One Sports. That's what I said. Absolutely dogged the Philadelphia Eagles because they didn't play their starters and weren't playing for seeding. Remember, they got a worse seed and had a tougher game against the 49ers. Remember that? We came in and absolutely dogged them because of it. And that goes into coaching.
I remember. Yeah.
That goes into coaching.
Raj, Laura, did he say Westwood Sports or Westwood One Sports?
That's beside the point. We're yelling about the Eagles here. Don't get off track here.
I'm getting off track.
Do your job.
I am.
Stop being a Jalen Hurts here and changing the play on the fly here. What are you doing?
I'm looking for confirmation for what I heard.
Raj, sources close to me are saying that Chris can't take coaching. I don't know. He's being a little tough to work with.
I'm gonna call my own play.
He's being a little tough to work with here. He's calling audibles. He's calling audibles here. He's being a little.
The Chris Black hit job piece will be up on Barrett Sports Media tomorrow.
He's being a little tough to work with here. It's just weird because everything we've heard about Jalen Hurts is that he is a great guy. And I'm not saying that he's not, but all of this is saying that he's not taking to coaching.
Well, he's being a bad teammate.
Well, and
that's what it's saying.
And the body, you and I broadcasting out of Chicago have heard, like, body language to me is like a trigger word because of all the stuff we dealt with Jay Cutler. And like body language.
He had the worst body language. And to me, body language, if you're losing, I expect you to look like you're losing. Like, you shouldn't be happy when you're losing. Like, that isn't a thing for me. Like, body language, I don't care what your body language is. If you're winning, I don't care what you look like. If you're losing, you can look like you're not having a good time on the football field if you're losing a game. See, I disagree. I think it matters. I think that, okay, when we talk about world-class athletes with the best training, with the best prep, with everything that goes into modern-day sports, every little edge that you can gain, I think matters. And I don't think it's any coincidence that Tom Brady is like the ultimate guy for that. For like moxie on the field, how you're supposed to do it, body language. And don't come at me that he yelled at his offensive lineman. Yeah, because he cared. Mm-hmm. I don't care about that. But like in every other, like when the Patriots are down big in games, next play. Here we go. Next play. I think that stuff matters. I think it matters as quarterbacks. I think it matters in the NBA with star players. I think that stuff absolutely matters. So that's where you and I differ on this. I think the body language thing and the way that you carry yourself and the way that you treat others, I think all of that crap comes together, and those are the margins to why individuals become great or are greater than others who don't care about those things.
I think if it's a body language on the field is different than if this is a body language in the building, and this is stuff that we don't see.
Yeah, but like that's what matters is the stuff that people don't see. If he's a bad team, like who's the other quarterback in this offseason we have talked about where there are questions in whether or not he buys in with the team and is a true leader at quarterback? It's Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. It's whether or not Lamar is willing to put in the work and be around and be the guy, because he leaves the facility and people don't see him and he doesn't want to partake in any of the offseason programs, any of that stuff. Those things matter. Mm-hmm. And that's also, I think, part of the reason why it's annoying to me that Aaron Rodgers hasn't told the Steelers whether or not he's going to play or not this season.
Yeah.
Like that stuff matters.
Yes. There's stuff in here about A.J. Brown, too, and obviously Devontae Smith, who's one of the receivers, too, with A.J. Brown. And it goes in to say if Brown is playing elsewhere in 2026, Devontae Smith becomes the primary receiver. And like Brown, Smith has his own frustrations last season. Mainly a source with knowledge of the situation said a lack of layup plays in the offense. Every catch, every play is a grinded out. The receivers have to win, the source said, but Smith handles his frustrations differently than Brown. He is more of a side conversation guy, the source said. Perhaps Mannion can help Smith and Hurts land a deeper connection on the field. These are supposed to be two Alabama guys. Come on, guys. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, but doesn't that all go into the idea of like being a good teammate?
Yes.
And having the good body language and being a part of it. And yeah, sure, maybe we're overreacting to body language, but I think that stuff matters.
But this was the idea of this whole thing was that A.J. Brown was the problem. That's what everybody was operating off of.
Yes, yeah, that's what we were kind of looking at throughout the season. That he is someone that you can't really get along with, and he's always complaining. He's on the sideline reading a book. He's yelling at Sirianni, all that stuff that we've seen throughout the season.
And maybe The truth is, I'm not saying that it's all Jalen Hurts, but it's both. It's two of them. That it can be both A.J. Brown, and when you're the quarterback of the team, when you're Jalen Hurts, like you said, you're supposed to be the leader. When you're the veteran, when you've won a Super Bowl, when you're the guy, you're supposed to hold yourself to a higher standard, and you're supposed to be the leader. And a hit piece like this should not be something that we see when the team is also trying to trade A.J. Brown and trying to move him to various, different teams throughout the league and trying to get some form of draft picks back that they can use here in a few weeks when the NFL draft is in Pittsburgh.
The article is on ESPN.com. It is titled Inside the Friction Between Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. It's from Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler. A lot of good information in there. And it does read like it's a hit piece on Jalen Hurts, that he is the reason to blame for a lot of the issues with the Philadelphia Eagles. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Coming up next, Stock Watch with Raj. Are we buying Mike McCarthy's stock? We'll talk about that.
Where spring blooms, legends rise, and golf's most sacred traditions come alive. Every Masters moment on the Westwood One Sports app. We're live from Augusta, starting April 9th. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. We broadcast each and every day right there live on YouTube, Bleck and Abdalla Show, live from Chicago. And now we go to Colorado, parts unknown. Raj Sharon produces this show every day. Joins us now for Stock Watch. What's up, Raj?
Hey, what's up, Bleck? What's up, Abdalla? Are we get ready to do a little portfolio here? Maybe buy, maybe sell.
Let's add. Let's add to the portfolio.
Bleck buys everybody. Let's see if he's a little more conservative with his money today. All right, we're going to start off with the guy who's having regular conversations with Aaron Rodgers. Abdalla, I know you're a big fan. He's the Nickelback of coaches. Are you buying or selling you some Mike McCarthy today?
Yeah, I'm buying Mike McCarthy. Come on, my guy. Are you kidding me? I'm buying Mike McCarthy. Not only is he on the phone daily with Aaron Rodgers, late night convos, but also he is probably, I would tell him to draft Ty Simpson and develop him for a couple of years and then start him in like 2 years and hopefully turns into maybe not the next Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but Hall of Very Good. Could we get that out of Ty Simpson? Could he be decent enough? Could he be a franchise quarterback? That doesn't mean you have to be great. Franchise quarterbacks don't mean you have to be great. It just means you got to be good. You got to be decent. So I'm buying Mike McCarthy. I know Chris is selling, so I'll take your stocks. Give them to me.
What do you say, the late night combos, McCarthy and Rodgers?
Yeah, late night combos, yeah.
Late night talking?
Yeah.
Maybe a little Harry Styles? I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Harry Styles. Raj, I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell Mike McCarthy because I just don't see it working out the same way. The way that kind of Abdalla's painting the picture, I just don't think the Steelers and McCarthy long term, that's going to make a lot of sense. And I think they will be looking for a new head coach in 2 or 3 seasons. And they will not have the stability that they once had with Mike Tomlin and Bill Cowher before it. So I'm going to sell the Mike McCarthy stock.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, guys, there's been some talk, some speculation that Kirk Cousins could be the fallback option for Pittsburgh. He's just kind of hanging out there as a free agent. Bleck, he's always got a great haircut. He's got the catchphrase. You like that? Are you buying or selling an aging Kirk Cousins?
Sell. I'm running for the hills. If Cousins is the option, if it does not work out with Aaron Rodgers, draft a quarterback in the first round. Take Ty Simpson. Do not roll out there Kirk Cousins for next season. Sell.
Yeah, I can't buy Kirk Cousins and Steelers. I can't buy Kirk Cousins anywhere unless he's just going for a backup role. The only way I could buy Kirk Cousins is if you tell me like a team is into week 12 and their quarterback gets hurt and Cousins is coming in and he's going to help them weather the storm for like the next 5 weeks until their quarterback comes back for the playoffs.
What's he bringing, ponchos?
Yeah, maybe. He got a rowboat or something. I don't know.
To weather the storm.
He's got a dinghy.
Is he playing quarterback?
Yeah, he's got a 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Sure, he does have a dinghy.
Yeah, he's got a dinghy.
Sure.
And his Cole's cash. I'm selling anything with Kirk Cousins. I don't like that, as he would say.
I see what you did there. Well done, Abdalla. All right, next up, it's the talk of baseball, guys. The ABS challenge system. Now that we've seen it, a week or so in, are we buying or selling the ABS challenge system, Abdalla?
Oh, I'm buying it. I think it's awesome. I think the fans are getting into it. I think it's great. The in-stadium vibe is awesome when you do it. When the home team gets it right. I think when the road team gets it wrong, it's awesome. Like I love everything about it. It's something that when we talked about it yesterday, why didn't we do this sooner? If this technology was available to us, why didn't we take advantage of this sooner? It's been so great so far, and I can't wait for like a high leverage situation, like end of game stuff where it's like someone taps the head to end a game and it's a big strikeout to end a game that keeps someone out of the playoffs or puts someone into the playoffs. I love it. I think it's great. I'm buying it.
I'm buying as well. For the reasons Adam pointed out, I love that it gave another reason for people to come together. And if there's one thing we all love to do as a society, it's all to root against umpires. We can all come together and tell umps that they blank. They stink. Right? Like we can all rally around that. And now there's a built-in moment within a baseball game where you get a chance to really go after the umpires, and it feels good. It feels great. And I like that they're getting the calls right. And it adds to the game. This is an absolute buy. What a brilliant idea for Major League Baseball. I'm glad they're doing it.
All right, next up, guys. This is a bit of an interesting one. He's headbutting people. Maybe he says it was a chest bump. I don't really know. His mom is going viral for her reaction to the end game. Dan Hurley.
Oh, yeah.
Are we buying or selling Dan Hurley?
Raj, before you say it, what did his mother say?
His mother was very excited over the win. She was just shocked. Pure shock.
She said something, though. What did she say?
I just can't make it out, Bleck. I'm not a great lip
you
reader.
Can't?
No, I just can't do it.
I think it was holy blank, right? That was something like that?
I think it was something like that. Are we buying or selling Dan Hurley? What do you say, Bleck?
Okay. The man is a lunatic. I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy because he is so good for college basketball. He is a bit of a jerk. He is a little rough around the edges, but he is someone that wins. Hurley wins, and at the highest level. And I think it's good for the sport when we know who the best of the best is. And I think that goes for all of sports. When we know that Connecticut, if they are able to reel off a third championship in the last few years, that's pretty cool. And so I'm going to buy the stock of Dan Hurley, win or without this weekend's wins. He's outstanding as a college basketball coach.
I mean, I'm buying. I'm a Hurley guy now because of the way
the glasses thing, right?
The glasses thing, man, it got me. The way you can go at a ref like that and find humor in it, and it's just funny. And I think that you're right. He hasn't reached. I think more people are starting to come around on him too. I don't think that you have because he hasn't bounced around and left and gone to if he would just say, oh, well, UNC's offering a lot more money, so I'm just going to go to North Carolina. He hasn't Lane Kiffined yet. You know what I mean? People don't like Lane Kiffin because he's just, instead of just staying at Ole Miss and taking more money at Ole Miss to build something there, he just went, LSU's offering me more money, so I'm just going to go there. He hasn't done that yet. I'm sure the Lakers job would have paid him a lot more money, but he didn't go to the Lakers. He stayed at UConn. So I think more people are starting to come around on Dan Hurley. I think there will be a tipping point. if they continue to win and he continues these sort of antics, they might turn into the new Duke. It's going to take a while. They have to do a lot more winning because Duke has won.
No one will ever be as insufferable as
I know. But there are people that do hate Dan Hurley.
What's your major student reporter?
I am gonna buy me some Dan Hurley because I do like him. I agree with you. He's good for the sport. I think he's good.
Do you guys believe in the conspiracy for this weekend for the Final Four? Do you guys see the referee that went forehead to forehead with Dan Hurley? He was left out.
Yeah, he's left out. He's
not going to be calling officiating the games this weekend. Do you guys think that had something to do with whatever that was, the forehead to forehead situation between Hurley and the ref?
What do you mean you don't know, Abdalla? He just said conspiracy theory. You are our conspiracy theorist.
That's what I'm saying, Raj.
Who's to say?
All right, let's go to the NFL draft, guys. Ty Simpson, the Alabama quarterback. Are you buying or selling stock in Ty Simpson, Bleck?
Well, you got to buy stock in the player because he's going to be a decent quarterback. Now, if you were saying and framing this, Raj, as am I buying stock in Ty Simpson as a first-round quarterback, I would sell. But just buying the stock of Ty Simpson, I'll buy it because it's a lotto ticket. If he turns out to be a great quarterback someday, boom, you're making money. So I'm going to buy the stock of Ty Simpson.
What currency am I buying this stock in?
USD. Don't try to finagle around it.
What? What do you pay with here in this country? What do you use?
I guess what wallet am I taking the currency
out
of?
Just trying to see if are you going to buy it in crypto or are you going to
No. I don't want to take this out. I don't want to buy this with Cardinals money. I don't want to take this out of the wallet of the Cardinals or the Jets. I want to use good Steelers money for this. I want to use good Rams money for this. Good backed money for this.
I think it's the same money.
It's the same kind of money, but it's from a different wallet, is what I mean.
Okay. Thicker wallet?
It's from a thicker wallet.
Deeper pouch.
Well, part of the challenge of buying today is you don't know where that stock is going to go. If I go buy stock in Microsoft today, I don't know who the CEO is going to be in a year. It's not like contingent upon that.
The three of us back in 1984, could you imagine if we just purchased maybe $20 of Apple stock at the time?
Oh my gosh.
If I would have happened upon that garage and been like, what are you guys doing in here?
You know where we would be if we were doing that? We'd be here doing this show.
Here. Yeah,
we'd be hosting this show,
just for fun.
Yeah. Could you imagine if in 1998
that's what we would do?
In our stock watch game, if we were doing it in 1998, and I brought up Michigan quarterback Tom Brady, are we buying or selling?
Oh, buy. As long as he goes to the Patriots, I'm buying.
You would have been buying that Giovanni Carmazzi stock. Don't lie, Abdalla.
Yeah. I'll buy Ty Simpson stock. I hope he goes to the right team. I like Ty Simpson. I just hope he goes to the right team and isn't ruined. So I'm going to hope that he goes to the right team. I'll buy some Ty Simpson.
All right, well, let's stay with quarterback. A name that's been popping up a little bit more this week, Garrett Nussmeier. Are you buying the LSU quarterback stock, Abdalla?
I'm going to go with the same theme as Ty Simpson. I'm going to buy Garrett Nussmeier and go with the same theory that if Ty Simpson ends up going to the Cardinals or to the Jets or to Miami or something like that, that either the Rams or the Steelers or someone will end up drafting Garrett Nussmeier and try to develop him to a backup or have him sit for a couple years, that will be because now we're starting to see, watch out, Garrett Nussmeier isn't too far behind Ty Simpson. He could be the guy. Watch out. Maybe he goes before Ty Simpson. Just wait. We'll see. So I'm going to go and I'm going to buy Garrett Nussmeier because he's not even as expensive as Ty Simpson. That's not even costing me as much. So I'm going to buy some Garrett Nussmeier.
I'm going to sell career backup. Back to you, Raj.
All right, LeBron James, the winningest player in NBA history now.
Does he have
Where's
shoes that
he
say
gonna
that?
play next year? There's just a lot of stuff around LeBron. You buying or selling this stock, Bleck?
In what context are we buying LeBron stock?
You buy LeBron James stock, so you get everything that goes with it. You get the career, you get the post-playing career. Are you buying or selling LeBron James?
It's very expensive, and it also thinks very highly of itself.
It is a very self-confident stock.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, I can't afford Google stock right now, so I'm going to sell the stock, cash in, because this would be the time, right? If someone's willing to buy LeBron stock at this stage of his career, 23 seasons in, you sell it. I mean, right? Like, there's no other way to do that other than selling. Now, if you're like, are you buying the Lakers making a run here in the playoffs? I would also sell that too. I think they win a series. But I think, as we talked about last week, they are likely to match up with Denver in the second round. And I think that's going to be a tough go in the second round of the playoffs. So I'm going to say I'm going to sell the LeBron stock.
I'm also going to sell. I have too many Jordans in my closet. Raj?
All right, guys. Today, a little bit of broadcasting history. The NFL Network is now owned and operated by ESPN. Abdalla, are you buying or selling ESPN's NFL Network?
It was weird seeing Ian Rappaport tweet out links from ESPN stories today. Like, that's where I saw the Jalen Hurts story first. It was like, here's a story on Jalen Hurts. And Ian Rappaport was a link to an ESPN story. It was weird.
Do they got anything on that Florio story yet?
Nah, I don't see anything yet. Don't see anything yet.
Nothing there. Okay.
Yeah, it's I mean, isn't it all just the NFL from everywhere? Does it really matter where we consume our NFL stuff? It's all kind of news. It's all your feed.
So let me ask this.
Everything is your feed.
The NFL Network still exists today, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can flip it on and watch it?
Yeah.
All right. So wait, I'm selling, I guess? I don't know. What's the difference?
I don't know the I don't know the difference.
I don't think we know yet. Like, in 6 months,
Sell.
is it just going to look like NFL Live
Sell.
24/7? Is it going to change? We don't know.
Sell.
Yeah, I'm going to sell. I'm with Abdalla.
And finally, guys, and I'm going to lead with Bleck because I can't wait for his reaction on this. Are we buying or selling the NFL's male and female flag football leagues? Bleck?
I'm going to sell.
Shocking.
But here's why I'm selling it, right? Like, if they want to do it, go for it. And if people want to participate. But this is not going to be like...
Is this going to be on NFL Network?
This is not going to be like the replacement for one of the major sports. Like,
that's
I'm not going to
ESPN's
be
choice
watching
now,
this. Like this isn't going to be on over coverage of like Major League Baseball. Like, I'm not watching this over baseball.
Yeah.
Or the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Or NCAA basketball. Like, wait, like, okay, if you want to do it, do it. I'm not going to have a team. Are you going to have a team, Abdalla?
Are there going to be teams?
What do you think? They're just random show
Are
up?
cities going to have? Is Chicago going to have a team?
It's a league. You got to have a team.
Are we bringing back the Chicago Enforcers of the XFL?
I'm selling. I don't. If this is just a way to get us used to the rules and get the public like on board with flag football before the Olympics.
Again, I told you guys yesterday, I love all Olympic activities.
Yeah, I'm not.
So I will watch anything in regards to the Olympics.
No, thank you.
When the Olympics are going on, I will watch it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm not watching.
Yeah, I'm not watching. No, thank you. Sell.
And that does it for Stockwatch, fellas.
Thanks,
Thank you, Raj, from parts unknown in Colorado. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, sponsored by Progressive Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. You know, we mentioned it in Stockwatch. LeBron James now has won the most games in NBA history. We talk about the Lakers, LeBron, and history that LeBron continues to chase coming up next.
It was one of the greatest comebacks and shots of all time.
For Mullins, long three. Oh, he got it. He hit it. He hit the long three-pointer.
Down 19 points. UConn upset Duke.
And the UConn Huskies score a four. An epic comeback from 19 points down.
And all of the madness was heard on the Westwood One Sports app.
I don't believe it.
We're your home of the NCAA tournament.
Unbelievable.
Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
The Lakers won last night, 127-113. They've been playing good basketball ever since the start of March. The Lakers have been playing really well. Luka Doncic has been fantastic. Another 42 points last night for Luka. He also had five rebounds, 12 assists. LeBron had 14 points. And the notable item from LeBron last night is that he now becomes the winningest player in NBA history. He passed up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He has now won 1,229 games in his career. So LeBron is the winningest player in NBA history. And, as his career gets to this point where 23 seasons in, he essentially, every record that's out there that's accumulating stats, LeBron is going to capture most, if not all, of the stats. Games played, wins, minutes played, field goals, points, all of the counting stats. LeBron James is going to be the all-time leader in almost every single category that's out there.
Yeah, that's cool. He did that. That doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
What are you going to go after LeBron? The most winningest player in NBA history. That means something.
Yeah, it means he stayed healthy. It means he stayed very healthy throughout his career. That's all. That's all it really means. But yeah, he's great. Everybody knows he's great. Everybody knows he's great. What do you want me to say? Listen, you're talking to a 41-year-old from Chicago. What do you want me to say? What do you want? You want to start this? You want to do this? You want to do this on April 1st, or you want to save this for June? You want to save this for June? You want to save this for June when he's eliminated from the playoffs, and we can say that's why you're not as good as Michael? Is that why you wanted to pull this string right now? Is that why you want to do this? Guess what, LeBron? You're not as good as Michael. You never will be. I don't care how many stats you lead, how many categories you lead, you're never going to be as good as Michael. You can play until you're 50. You're never going to be as good as Michael. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. Read them off again. I don't care. Have as many different shoe combinations as you want to tell me how many different categories you lead. You're never going to be as good as Michael.
What about a little patch? Is he wearing a little patch on his jersey?
Have all the patches you want. Your jersey can look like a NASCAR jacket for all I care. You're never going to be as good as Michael. You're never, ever, ever going to be as good as Michael.
Speaking of, did you see the interview Michael had? I believe it was with CBS News over the weekend.
I did.
It's great.
Yeah. Well,
he's all in on NASCAR.
One of the most underreported stories I thought of the last couple months was his lawsuit with NASCAR, and how if he would have won, it would have forced the sale of NASCAR. Like, imagine forcing the sale of an entire sport. Like, there's a group of people, like when one essentially family and group of people that own
was the
NASCAR.
Opposite. I thought if they won, he would have to sell the team.
No, well, if they won, but if he won, it would have spread.
Didn't he win?
No, they settled.
Oh, okay.
They settled. And so because of the settlement, and then he ended up winning 3 out of the first 4 races.
Yeah, his race team is doing well. So, I do need to apologize to the national audience here on the Bleck Abdalla show for Abdalla's outburst there. I had zero intention on turning this into a LeBron-Michael conversation for who the true GOAT of basketball is, because people love saying that, the greatest of all time. I apologize. I did not think that you were going to be that animated.
What do you want me to
say?
say?
And yelling at all of us that Michael is better than LeBron. That was not the intent. I'm bringing this up.
You changed your mind all of a sudden?
No, that's not.
Is that what that chair's done to you?
I thought we were going to talk.
Is that what that's done to you? Is that what's happened?
What do you mean? Changed my mind on
the segment? All of a sudden, you're a LeBron guy now?
Oh no, dude!
Is that what's happened?
Do I look like I have long hair and host on FS1?
I'm just saying. Is that what's happened now?
No.
Is that what's happened now?
I watched basketball.
I'm just saying. All of a sudden.
No, there is no all of a sudden.
I'm just saying. Now all of a sudden you might be a LeBron guy. I don't know.
I didn't know. I didn't know that that's what we were doing on the Bleck Abdalla show right now.
I
didn't know that. I thought we were talking Lakers.
You gave me a bunch of LeBron stats and then stopped. Like I'm supposed to be like cool. Like good for LeBron. Like what do you want me to say? Awesome for him. What do you want me to say? About LeBron. LeBron's awesome. He's okay. Good for him and the Lakers. They're playing really well. They're going to be a second round out. Awesome.
Cool.
And then we'll talk again about how, and then guess what? Like you said, every talking head is going to do legacy, 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 legacy. He's never going to be as good as Michael. Never, ever, ever.
Okay. All right. Yes, I agree. I'm not changing my opinion.
Sounds like you might be.
I'm just saying I didn't know we were doing that right here on
Neither
the show
did I,
right now.
but apparently you wanted to.
The Lakers' next game, 8:30 against the Thunder.
What record is he going to break that night?
Well, they're going to try and beat the best team in basketball, the Oklahoma City Thunder, on Thursday.
If he does that, will he be better than Michael?
It's the second of the two Prime Video games on Thursday. Timberwolves Pistons will be the first. Lakers Thunder will be the second game. So that's the next game for the Lakers. And the Thunder, they've been playing good basketball as well as of late. Today is one of those days where if you're on social media or if you have someone in your office who is absolutely annoying, this is their day. This is their Super Bowl. It's April 1st, April Fool's Day. And if you're not funny, you think it's the greatest day in the world.
Yeah, you do.
And so there are different brands, though, that put out their jokes on social media of different products. And I feel like we should roll through a couple of these because some of them actually are a little creative. Because like this is what, if you run social media for a brand, this is your big day.
It is, yeah.
If you can rattle off, like if you work for Baskin Robbins and you can put out there a can of soup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ice cream soup, strawberry cheesecake ice cream soup.
Yeah.
Which is not real because it's April Fool's.
April Fool's.
At least the graphic looks okay.
Yeah, it does. Have you heard of, Olipop?
Olipop, yes,
the carbonated beverage.
Yep.
They claim to have partnered up with Good Wipes, which is wipes.
Yes.
For your nether regions.
For the goods.
To have scented wipes that smell like peaches and cream.
Oh, right.
Not true.
Well, yes. It's
that's not
April
true.
Fools.
Not true. You cannot buy those wipes that are scented like peaches and cream.
You know the Keebler elves?
Yeah,
You know
I've heard of
Keebler?
them. I've heard of them. Yeah. Mhm.
They have cookie toothpaste.
Oh, that sounds tasty.
That it's toothpaste. That is the flavor of cookies.
Okay.
So that's out there.
Okay. Raising Cane's has teamed up with Coke to have their sauce in Coca-Cola form.
So it's just drinking sauce out of a bottle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not true.
Well, of course, none of it's true. It's April Fool's. And everyone has all of these, little gimmicks and all the, it's really just social media stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, everybody wants protein now. Everybody wants protein.
I don't get that. Why
wants
are
protein.
people adding protein to
you got to
their
get your
coffee?
gains. You got to get your gains in, Chris. You got to get your gains. You got to get your gains.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If all these people want their gains, why are we not seeing any gains be made?
Okay.
Don't
judge. Hey, whoa.
When you're
don't
walking
judge.
around,
why are you judging?
Would you think you would see a bunch of people who are buff?
Why are you fat shaming?
Look great?
Why are you judging?
I'm not fat shaming.
Why
I'm
are you
saying
muscle
where's
shaming?
the muscle?
Why are you muscle shaming? Well, Clausen Pickles has now pickles with 30 grams of protein per pickle.
It's so stupid.
Not true.
It's all stupid. The one that is kind of funny, I'll give it credit. It's a vodka pasta creamer.
Oh,
did you see that
vodka
one?
sauce? Yeah.
Yeah. It's spicy vodka sauce creamer that you put in your coffee.
Oh, okay. I might try. I really like vodka sauce. And
Vodka sauce is great.
I don't know if I want it in my coffee, but no, thank you.
So just beware today. Every person that thinks that they're funny, you're not actually funny with your April Fool's stuff. It's just have we figured out the Florio situation? On Pro Football Talk?
It's still on the website.
It's still up there. So he has a article up there saying that Aaron Rodgers, in his decision, there's a team lurking in the shadows, that the Denver Broncos could be looking to try and bring in Aaron Rodgers for this upcoming season. We'll update that story, which appears to be real. It's still up there. We'll do that, and we'll talk a little football with the Bears coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, SiriusXM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago. We are on the air until 3 Eastern, and then we'll hand it off to Jim Rome right here on Westwood One Sports. You can always call or text the show, the call or text line at 310-840-4910. Abdalla, we saw a story earlier this morning. It is still published. It is still posted. It's from a reputable source. It's out there. From what we can tell, it is not a April Fool's joke, but it is something that made us scratch our heads when we saw it earlier today on Pro Football Talk.
Yeah, if you're a newsmaker and you tweet out a story and it ends up being an April Fool's joke, shame. Shame on you. Because you're supposed to be a newsman? A newsman? What would Cronkite say? What would he say? Well, how would he deal with this today? If Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, if this ends up being an April Fool's joke, huh? What would he say?
Give us what the story is.
Broncos emerge as a potential option for Aaron Rodgers. Now, this came out of nowhere. You and I were preparing for the show, getting ready for the show right before noon, and this story came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, I just went to Pro Football Talk and saw this there. Broncos emerge as a potential option for Aaron Rodgers, and he says in the story there's talk of the Broncos possibly bringing Rodgers in for a visit. The motivation comes from the possibility that current starter Bo Nix won't fully and completely be back to 100% when week 1 rolls around. And then further down in the story, he says, Florio, it's very early and it's not an April Fool's Day gag.
Okay, so lurking behind the scenes, the Denver Broncos, there are so many different angles to this conversation and story. If it's true, and the Broncos are waiting to see how this plays out with Aaron Rodgers and whether or not he's going to go to Pittsburgh, Denver and Aaron Rodgers makes a lot of sense because immediately, not that they aren't already, they're a Super Bowl contending team. By some accounts, you and I talked about it like a month ago, there's some publications pointing to the Broncos having the best roster in the National Football League. You add in Jalen Waddle with the big trade, and I think that on the short list of teams to win the Super Bowl next season, Denver will be listed off with, in the AFC, Baltimore, Buffalo, Denver. Those are the 3 teams I think a lot of people are going to point to get to the Super Bowl next season. Okay, with that said, it would make a lot of sense for Aaron Rodgers as well because Rodgers, at the end of his career, wants to win. And I think Denver has a better chance of winning next season than Pittsburgh does. So I think from those sides of it, there's a lot there with that, if this story is true. I think also, when you look at it from the Denver Bronco perspective, what are you going to do with Bo Nix? Bo Nix is a young player who's ascending, who had surgery to his ankle where the end of the season fell apart because of bad quarterback play, but that's not something you can, it happens in the NFL. Quarterbacks get hurt. Players get hurt. Seasons get lost because of that. That's just what football is. And so, there is no blame to go to Bo Nix, but it was fascinating to see the fallout after the season and the comments made by Sean Payton and then the comments made by Bo Nix in regards to his ankle injury and how Sean Payton was kind of speaking out of pocket, talking about the injury. And then Bo Nix reacted on the air in an interview saying that my head coach doesn't know what he's talking about. I didn't have multiple surgeries. He didn't know. And it was weird. And it was weird in the moment. And we talked about it here on the show. It was weird for a quarterback in the NFL to publicly disagree and try and point out that their head coach was just wrong about something. That stuff happens, but it happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's what caught our attention was happening in public. So if all this is true and there are, the winds are swirling around the Broncos maybe waiting out Aaron Rodgers, I wonder if there's really a deeper friction between Sean Payton and Bo Nix for the future for the Broncos. And that's why this story caught our attention. Now, it should be noted that not only is that story still up on Pro Football Talk, and not only did Mike Florio make mention in the story, this is not an April Fool's story, I've yet to see anyone else jump on this story. And in fact, longtime Broncos reporter Mike Kliss, who's very good on covering the Broncos, has gone out saying that this story is not true and that that's not going to take place. The Broncos are not interested in Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he's not the only one. Multiple Denver reporters, whether it's for The Athletic, whether it's for other stations, whether a bunch of Denver beat reporters have said there's no truth to this. In fact, quite the opposite. Bo Nix is going to be ready for OTAs. Not just week 1. Bo Nix is going to be ready to be under center to work with new wide receiver Jalen Waddle during OTAs, during all the offseason stuff, during training camp and everything. He's actually ahead of schedule, is what Jordan Schultz has said, another national reporter. So it's weird that this is coming out. It could be that, yes, the Broncos are sniffing around Aaron Rodgers and Rodgers is doing the same. It could also be that in the conversations that Aaron Rodgers is having with Mike McCarthy, which Mike McCarthy himself admitted over the last couple days at the NFL owners meetings, which are taking place in Phoenix, Arizona, where all the owners and the GMs and the coaches are, that Aaron Rodgers is not liking the offer or offers that he's getting from the Steelers, that the money isn't adding up. So he goes to, the Broncos and sees a quarterback that's injured, that's, because obviously the one other situation where this is taking place is Kansas City, and they traded for Justin Fields. And so I don't think he's going to go to like Kansas City and be like, hey, you're going to trade Patrick Mahomes.
Well, no. In the Mahomes side of things, I saw comments from Andy Reid yesterday saying that Mahomes is as ahead of schedule.
He might be ready.
Yeah. Like they're
don't
clearly,
count it out.
Yeah, Justin Fields, you're not getting starts at the start of the season. It's
Exactly.
going to be Mahomes.
Exactly. So this is an opportunity where it could be the Broncos doing some homework here and doing some sniffing around, and it could also be Rodgers saying, "Hey, Steelers, pony up. Like, I haven't made a decision yet because you haven't met the demands."
Okay. I will say this. Florio is also someone that's been very public in trying to explain the behind the scenes of reporting. He was the one that kept pushing out and commenting on what happens around free agency, right? Like, we all see it on social media now. The way we get the news of where agents and free agents are going to sign is that you see in the post from the reporter giving credit to the agency, which you're essentially, they're all just carrying favor for the agencies to get the information, right? And Florio is like very open in pointing out that the agencies and the agents are using said reporters, which I would find like, and I know this is real like inside baseball kind of style stuff, but like it would be fascinating with that knowledge than looking at this story and not thinking that there's some level of credibility behind it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because if someone was just using, like you laid out, if Aaron Rodgers and his people were trying to use someone or something to gain leverage over the Steelers to make a move here, that to me would be surprising coming from Florio, since he's the one that calls out the agents using the reporters during free agency.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think that this is weird considering that does Rodgers know that he can go out and put this story out there? Because the Steelers, from their perspective, they have one viable option. If they want to make the playoffs and if they want to go on some form of Super Bowl run, it's Aaron Rodgers. That's it. I know Kirk Cousins is out there, and that option was floated out there by Albert Breer, but that's not a real option. You're not going to the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. I don't think you're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers either way, but you're not getting anywhere with Kirk Cousins. You're certainly not getting there if you have to use that pick on your draft pick on Ty Simpson and throwing him out there with Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf and saying, hey, go compete against the Ravens who just signed Trey Hendrickson and go compete with that in the AFC.
Right.
And good luck. You're not competing with that. So they know it's Aaron Rodgers or bust. And it seems like maybe Aaron Rodgers knows it's Aaron Rodgers or bust. And maybe it's time to drive up my price a little bit.
So we'll keep our eyes on it. As of right now, this is what we can tell you. It's still published. It's still up there. No other major NFL reporter has reported that story.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one. It's out there. Nothing from ESPN and the NFL Network. Nothing. So we'll see. Aaron Rodgers, whether or not the Denver Broncos are actually interested in the quarterback. And then the fallout for that, because I can't conceive of a world. I can't think of a world where Aaron Rodgers comes in for 1 year and Bo Nix is just there. If this is all true, and the Broncos are interested in bringing in Aaron Rodgers, I think then they are looking to trade Bo Nix.
This is not
that would be the next move. Is that you bring in Rodgers, you trade Bo Nix, because what we saw at the end of the season, that friction between Sean Payton and Bo Nix, that's real.
This is not a Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy type deal.
No.
Like, Bo Nix was really good last year and good enough where you don't need to say, hey, you're not getting this. You need to sit for a year, and we've got an opportunity to bring in a guy that could take us to the playoffs, and you need to watch for a year. Like, we were all talking about it and saying if Bo Nix takes the next step in this Sean Payton offense, they are a championship contender. Now, they have
They are a championship contender.
Well, they have like the 12th or 10th best odds to win the Super Bowl. They're 18-1. They're behind a bunch of teams here to win the Super Bowl. They're tied with the Texans right now at 18-1. So they are behind a decent amount of teams. But again, 18-1 is not horrible. I think that they have a decent chance. I think they can get right back to where they were in the AFC Championship game if everything goes right for them. If everybody can stay healthy, if Bo Nix comes back week 1 and plays well, I think, and again, another year in this system, if he has a full offseason, if the reports are back that he's going to be back for OTAs and he has a full offseason with this offense again, they can go back to the AFC Championship game for sure.
Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can always join the show on our call or text line at 310-840-4910. You know, I saw this. Everyone's there in Phoenix for the team meetings, the annual NFL meetings. And Ben Johnson, head coach of the Chicago Bears, he did not sound happy with the offensive coaching staff and the wide receivers for the play from the wide receivers last season. And I know for the Bears situation right now, one of the biggest trades that took place over the offseason was the Bears and the Bills trading DJ Moore to Buffalo, and the Bears got back a second-round pick. Now, DJ Moore was the number one wide receiver for the Chicago Bears last season, has been for the last couple of years. And Buffalo has been searching for a guy to be their number one guy. You and I have talked about it here on the show, and just briefly, the thought on DJ Moore, really good player, tough player, is always out there. And the one downside to his game is that there have been times in a Bears uniform where he maybe is not giving full max effort or full attention to detail when there are big moments that take place in a game. And it is not just a one-time thing. It has happened multiple times where a route was ran poorly, or he's walking off the field while a play is still going on. Caleb Williams is scrambling around, and he's still out there looking for someone to bail him out, and DJ Moore is walking off the field. That happened last season. And the way the Bears season ended this year was a interception thrown by Caleb Williams to a spot that DJ Moore did not finish his route on. Now, you can look at it a bunch of different ways. You know, nationally, people may think that Caleb's just a wild horse back there throwing the football all over the field. There is one thing to know about Caleb Williams, the quarterback. He does not turn the football over. He does not. It is something that you can say in 2 seasons as a quarterback, he does not throw away the football to the other team. He takes care of the football. And when the coaches came out and they defended the route and all this stuff. Like we had it here on the show. Jeff Schwartz has filled in for you multiple times, Abdalla. And Jeff Schwartz knows people, and he said on this show that I know coaches up at Hallis Hall, and DJ Moore does not fit with what they're trying to do. And he said that, and he told us before DJ was traded, he was going to get traded this offseason. So that's the backstory. But seeing and hearing the quotes from Ben Johnson over the last couple of days talk about it, I think was fascinating.
Well, I think it was obvious when they drafted Luther Burden, last year in the draft, when in Ben Johnson's first draft, that he watched tape and said, and watched DJ Moore and said, maybe we need to do something. They had a plethora of wide receivers. Rome Odunze was already there. DJ Moore was already there. Cole Kmet was already there. Yet they drafted a tight end and a wide receiver with their first 2 picks in last year's draft instead of going defense. And so in doing that, that told you everything that Ben Johnson needed to tell you. Now, Cole Kmet's still around because he likes having 2 tight ends. And I think that, Ben Johnson also talked about how he's going, this dude's a true psycho. And in complimentary, parentheses complimentary. This guy is going back and watching preseason practices from last year and talking about how lackadaisical they were.
Yeah.
And how they need to ramp up the intensity for this year's offseason practices because they want to get off to a better foot this year in the offseason than last year. It's like, man, this guy, no wonder he wasn't at Jay Glazer's little barbecue and day drinking the other day.
Is that confirmed? Do we have that Ben Johnson didn't go?
28 out of the 32 head coaches were there. We studied that film like it was the Zapruder film. And
we broke it down.
And I still can't find Ben Johnson in that video. All I can say is that maybe he was up in his hotel room watching film.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. This is Ben Johnson yesterday talking about looking ahead to next season.
It's been a long off season in terms of you go downtown or you go somewhere and everyone's patting you on the back and telling you what a great job you did. And it's you don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it anymore. All right. It was great for the first week, but now our sights are turned and we got a monumental task at hand because this division only got better so far this offseason, and we still have the draft to come. And so our guys, we got to go back to work just like we did a year ago. It doesn't get any easier. It's going to continue to get harder. They're going to feel that pressure from the coaching staff so that when we get to these games in the fall, that we're going to be ready for it.
So that was Ben Johnson at the meetings out in Arizona for the NFL annual meetings. Here's the thing with Ben Johnson. I think I love him. I think he's great. I'm glad he's the head coach of the Chicago Bears, the team that we root for. Broadcast each and every day from Chicago. He will get it fixed, and he will look at the attention to detail with all these elements. And here's another quote from him from over the last couple of days. Here's the quote. I'm actually not very happy with us as an offensive staff. Our ability to get the primary receiver open, I don't think has happened at a high enough clip. So we have to do a better job in our game planning process. I put a lot of that on myself, making sure that we're doing that, end quote. So he also went on in that answer that he gave to reporters, talking about how Caleb Williams, in a lot of situations, because the wide receivers were not getting open and because the offensive staff was not scheming up to get wide receivers open, that Caleb was bailing them out of situations, which all of it put together, if you pay attention enough to what the head coach is talking about with the quarterback, is that Caleb Williams is really special. And we're just scratching the surface on how good this player can be moving forward in the NFL.
And I think he's right, because last year, and I know when you're in a new head coaching staff, you get an extra week or two to come in and work with your players and everything like that. But I think year 2 of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, just like we talked about with Bo Nix and Sean Payton, having another year of understanding how the system works and having another year with receivers and everybody else, with Colston Loveland and Luther Burden and getting familiar with all of these guys, I think will only expand what this team can do offensively. And having to come from behind in every single game, if they can improve this defense a little bit, whether they did in free agency, they can through the draft, I think that the Bears can only get better. And he said the division got better. Obviously, I think the Vikings are going to be a little bit better with Kyler Murray, the Packers, and the Lions are going to be a little bit better. So this division is going to be really good again. And the Bears, I think the offense is going to get better than it did last year too.
Going on right now at the University of Indiana, it's the pro day for the NFL draft for the players on the football team who are going pro. Fernando Mendoza is throwing right now at pro day, so we'll keep our eyes on that. We also have a new mock draft from NFL.com. We'll tell you about that and which quarterback besides Mendoza will go at the top of the board. We'll talk about the NFL draft and look at that mock draft coming up next.
The weather is heating up, and so is the sports calendar. We are your home of the Final Four, the Masters, and the NFL Draft, taking you inside the sports you care about. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
New mock draft on NFL.com. Fernando Mendoza is number one. This mock draft is from Lance Zierlein. Fernando Mendoza right now is throwing at the Indiana Pro Day. So you've got all the players who could go in the NFL draft out there, and Mendoza is throwing. I've seen him incomplete, a couple passes, a couple misses, a couple misfires.
Here comes Ty Simpson.
Couple misfires from Mendoza early on air as he's standing there in the middle of the field throwing the football with a lot of scouts watching the potential number one pick in the NFL draft. So Lance Zierlein has Mendoza going one, which is not a surprise to anyone. But here's the rest of the way the first four picks go. Arvell Reese goes two. That's the edge rusher from Ohio State to the Jets. The Cardinals take edge rusher from Texas Tech, David Bailey. And then number four, Jeremiah Love, goes to the Titans, the running back from Notre Dame. For the most part, this is kind of what we're seeing in a lot of mock drafts, that those are the four players that go in the first four. We have seen a couple kind of swap Bailey and Reese on who could go number 2 and 3, but mainly it's Arvell Reese as the second-rated player in the NFL draft. And then also Jeremiah Love in most mock drafts has been going to number 4 with Tennessee, which is still something that I find a little surprising.
Yeah, two things about this mock draft, and now that we're starting to see these mock drafts kind of come together in a line here. Most of them do not have two quarterbacks in them. Most of them have Ty Simpson going in the second round, or I presume the second round, since he's not a first-round quarterback. And, yes, I have resigned myself to the fact that Jeremiah Love will go in the top 5, and he will be a Tennessee Titan. And listen, he better be Offensive Player of the Year. He better be. He better be.
Yeah, if you're taking a running back 4th overall, that guy has to put up incredible numbers, be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And with a no doubt, we know that he's going to be an All-Pro at some point in his career. And then if not, he's at least a Pro Bowl player each and every year in the NFL. If you're taking running back 4, and I know that's why some of the conversation around Kansas City during free agency spending on Kenneth Walker, the reason they did that was because they don't think at 9 Jeremiah Love is going to be available.
Yeah.
And I have seen some indications that it's not necessarily 4 where he would go. But Adam Schefter hinted last week on ESPN television that watch out for the Commanders. The Commanders are sitting 7th. That would even make sense. 7 or 9. I just think when you're drafting at 4, the reason you're drafting so high is because your team stinks and you need a lot of help.
Yeah.
To me, it has nothing to do with the criticism of Jeremiah Love, the player himself. Has everything to do with the positional rank and where, if I'm building a team, what I value, where I want to spend my money on running backs compared to everything else on the offensive side of the ball.
the Titans addressed a lot of defensive needs and offensive weapon needs in free agency. That doesn't change the fact that you could always use more edge rushers. You could always use more offensive linemen. And I don't think they have a true number one wide receiver yet. They just don't. And so I think if you were to draft a true number one wide receiver at number 4, or you were to draft, if you were to draft Carnell Tate from Ohio State, who goes number 5 in this draft to the New York Giants, I would have no problem with that. If you were to take Monroe Freeling, who is the offensive tackle who goes to Cleveland at number 6, I would have no problem with that. If you were to take an edge rusher, any of these guys, I would have no problem with that. It's not, like you said, it is nothing against Jeremiah Love, but if you take a running back at 4, you better have a great offensive line, because we saw this with Ashton Genty last year. Ashton Genty everybody was all about Ashton Genty and how he's the best prospect in the draft. And if you had to pick a best prospect, who's your best player in the draft? It's Ashton Genty. Who's your best player? It's Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty this. Who was one of the worst running backs in the NFL last year? It was Ashton Genty, because he was getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
The Raiders' offensive line was terrible.
But that's my point. My point.
Yeah.
My point is, when you have a bad offensive line, your running back's not going to be able to do anything. So you have to build your offensive line first. Build that up so your running back can do something with it. If you can't open up the space for him, he's going to get hit behind the line of scrimmage. And it's not going to do your quarterback any favors either. So I would be taking another position there. And we'll see how it works out for the Titans. We may be eating our words, and he might get Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, I don't think that's the case. We're saying he's going to be good. And we're saying he's going to be a great player.
Yeah.
What we're saying is, when you draft it, here's how it works out for Tennessee. The only way this works out, taking a player 4th overall, a running back at that position, is if he gives you 10-plus years as an all-pro and will be a Hall of Famer for the Tennessee Titans. Outside of that, you can find running backs at any point in the draft, 5th, 6th round guys who give you something. The one thing you can't find later in the draft is franchise changing left tackles, edge rushers, quarterbacks, wide receivers. That's where, if I'm Tennessee, I'm using that 4th pick overall on a wide receiver if I'm going offense like that. I want Cam Ward to have a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, that's the direction I would go. Now, I saw this also yesterday on NFL.com. Daniel Jeremiah, it's not a mock draft. He updated his top 50 players for the NFL draft. So it's his official rankings for the players. It's his 4th update to this list as he does this leading into the NFL draft on NFL.com. Fernando Mendoza is the number 1 player. Daniel Jeremiah does have Jeremiah Love as the 2nd overall player in the draft. So with that said, and you think back to the past of other highly touted running backs going into the NFL draft, what are those careers? What do they look like? Adrian Peterson? LaDainian Tomlinson? Who Saquon Barkley? And I would say Saquon Barkley's a cautionary tale. Not because he's not a good player. Is he with the Jets still? I mean, the Giants still?
No.
He's not with the Giants anymore.
But the Giants win.
Well, right. But he's no longer there.
Yeah.
At least you could say LaDainian Tomlinson lived up to the billing.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame player, stayed with the team for a very long time, an absolute game changer. So Daniel Jeremiah has Jeremiah Love as the 2nd rated player in this year's draft. Number 3, linebacker from Ohio State, Sonny Styles. Number 4, David Bailey from Texas Tech. Arvell Reese is number 5. And the first wide receiver would be at 6, Carnell Tate. So those are the names at the top of the board for Daniel Jeremiah. He has Love as the 2nd best player in the entire draft.
And look, I think everybody does too. I think everybody has this player in this position ranked number 2. And it's not something that we didn't see with Ashton Genty last year either. Ashton Genty was a dynamic player and one of the most dynamic in the the sport last year, but that doesn't change the fact that it's not anything against the player. It's how you build a team. It's how you build your franchise. And I just wouldn't be doing it. And I think that given who your head coach is as well, with a defensive-minded head coach, I would be looking at either defensive line or offensive line, or getting another weapon, considering also Brian Daboll, why didn't you get another wide receiver? Like, I know that Jeremiah Love is a weapon.
Yeah.
But getting another wide receiver to me would even make more sense. I just think that taking Jeremiah Love there that high, and maybe you don't think the running back class is that deep, and that's why the Chiefs did what they did in signing Kenneth Walker to a huge deal, because they knew that Jeremiah Love wouldn't be at the position where they draft. And so they gave Kenneth Walker a huge deal, and that's fine. I just wouldn't do it. And I hope it works out for the Titans, and Jeremiah Love can use all of this to prove everybody wrong, and that's fine. I don't think he's going to be a bad player. I think he's going to be a good player. And the Titans are still one of my teams that I think can go from worst to first and compete for a playoff spot because of everything that they've added and because of the two coaches that they brought in to turn around their franchise, and the fact that they both have head coaching experience, and because of what I think Cam Ward can turn into and what I saw from him last year, and how low I think his floor is and how high I think his ceiling can be.
The annual meetings are taking place in Phoenix, Arizona for the NFL this week. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Did you see the story that Odell Beckham Jr. Went to the meetings to try and pitch himself to the Giants to bring him back? He also participated in the Tom Brady flag football thing, and he was, what was that, 2 weekends ago? Mm-hmm. And he was making catches out there, and he's trying to convince the Giants to bring him back.
Okay. Yep. Odell Beckham played in 9 games in 2024. He didn't start in any of them. He had 9 receptions for no touchdowns and 55 yards. In 2023, he played in 14 games. He started in 6 of them. He had 35 yards. He had 35 receptions for 565 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, he wants to be a Giant.
Okay. I mean, he was...
I like the initiative.
Oh,
He showed up. He went there. He talked to the brass from the Giants.
Yes, he did.
Bring me back.
That he did. He's also going to be 34 years old in November. Got a lot of miles on those legs.
That's young, man.
Yeah. Not for an off-injured wide receiver, it's not.
Younger than you.
I'm not trying to play in the NFL at a position where you need to be very fast.
Oh,
thanks,
hello,
Raj.
hello,
Thanks,
Raj.
Raj. Thanks, Raj. I didn't need the tip in from you. I didn't need that tip in.
You didn't want Raj's tip?
No.
In?
No. Did
Oh
not
my
need
gosh. Oh boy.
that. Did not need
Raj,
that.
your thoughts?
I'm just fascinated thinking about Abdalla running routes now and making circus catches.
No,
That's all
my
that's going through
ankles,
head.
my ankles would snap and my ACLs would tear.
I would love to see Abdalla run a route.
Listen,
I would like to
be
see it, but
a
on
sight
one
to see.
condition. I would want to do it at the practice facility of the San Francisco 49ers. That would be
It would be-
my
That would be
request.
great.
I would be running like Mart style routes where they're all just big curls. So they're all curl routes. Nothing. There's nothing.
sharp
no
edges
forward
on
verts.
no
your
sharp
routes.
edges. No sharp edges on my routes. Everything's a big curl.
No cutting.
No cutting whatsoever. Yeah.
Post corner, Abdalla.
Yeah. Let's go 4 verts.
We're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. There's a new survey that was done by The Athletic asking college basketball coaches, what is the best head coaching job in all of college basketball? Think about it. What's the best job in college basketball? We'll tell you the results of the survey coming up next.
The NFL Draft is less than a month away, and we will take you behind the curtain, literally live from Pittsburgh for the 2026 Draft, with exclusive interviews of your team's picks from your home of the NFL, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Jim Rome coming up in 15 minutes here on Westwood One Sports. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. Make sure you check out the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Odyssey. You can also watch the show, YouTube. Make sure you check us out. Bleck and Abdalla Show. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, broadcasting live each and every day right there on YouTube. Bleck and Abdalla Show. Thank you to Raj and Laura for producing today's show. Jim Rome is coming up next here on Westwood One Sports. Abdalla, The Athletic asked a bunch of college basketball coaches, what is the best coaching job in all of America? They surveyed the coaches. These are head coaches, assistants, people that work for teams. They asked 51 coaches about what is the best job in college basketball. Can you guess what number one is? The best job in all of college basketball. They asked 51 individuals, and this is their response.
Yeah, it's got to be Duke.
Duke is number one.
I'm Duke.
I'm Duke. It's my job.
Even though I left, I have an office. I'm Duke.
Yes, Coach K, yes. So Duke is number one. North Carolina is tied for number two with...
Kansas?
No. You're close.
Oh, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Kentucky and North Carolina are tied at number two. Number four would be
Kansas.
Kansas.
Okay.
And number five?
UConn probably now.
UConn.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
UConn. Then you get to number 6, Arizona. Number 7, Michigan.
Okay.
Number 8 is another tie between Florida and Texas. UCLA is number 10.
Wow, I'm surprised UCLA is down that far.
I'm surprised that they even made the list.
Well, UCLA
We're
is
not talking about the
obviously-
70s.
I know, but if you took that job and brought them back to prominence,
yeah,
it would be a good job.
Yeah, they were decent a few years back.
It's not like UCLA is a great football school.
When Kevin Love and Russell Westbrook were there, yeah, they were good.
Bring it back.
Was
to
it
prominence.
Ben Holland was the head coach when they made those runs to the Final Four a few years back? So, so there's the list, and Duke is number 1. North Carolina, number 2, looking for a head coach. We'll see if North Carolina is going to wait out what takes place here in the Final Four this weekend with Michigan and Arizona, Tommy Lloyd and Dusty May. And both are rumored for this North Carolina gig. So we'll keep our eyes on that. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Can't wait for the Final Four. You can listen to all of the coverage of the Final Four here on Westwood One Sports. Just download the Westwood One Sports app. In about 10 minutes, Abdalla and I are packing up the studio here in downtown Chicago. We're throwing all the equipment into the car, and we're jumping in. We're driving to Indy. So we've got a little road trip ahead of us this afternoon.
Yeah, can't wait. Jumping on I-65.
Going south.
To Indianapolis.
You drive the speed limit, though. Are we going to get there before it's dark out?
I only drive the speed limit when I need to because
it's only like a 3-hour ride.
I only drive the speed limit when I am either holding a child or other things that I need to drive the speed limit for.
Product?
Yeah, product. So, and I don't have either of those with me. Just you.
Okay.
Just the precious cargo that is you.
Just me and my pretty face.
Just you and your face. I would just say face.
Me and my face and my amazing, wittingly great commentary that I will provide.
I'm going to turn
for you.
I'm going to turn up our fine Westwood One station and listen to Jim Rome the whole way.
Let's see if we can get there before Rome's done.
I'm going to listen. I'm going to turn it up real loud. I don't think
we can do that.
I don't need your director's commentary for Jim Rome.
So we're looking forward to it. We'll be broadcasting tomorrow and Friday live from Radio Row at the Final Four. So we'll get you set for the games. And Saturday is going to be fantastic. Illinois, UConn, the first game, Michigan, Arizona. And that second game, de facto national championship like stakes, right? Like these are the two best teams in the tournament to this point. They both essentially didn't break a sweat to get here in the Final Four. And I'm guessing once we get down to Indianapolis, especially like on Friday afternoon, I think there's going to be a lot of maize and blue, and there's going to be a ton of orange. Because the fact that we are driving from Chicago, it's about a 3-hour ride to get down there to Indy. Champaign, Illinois is a lot closer. It's about 2 hours away. Ann Arbor, Michigan isn't too far away. The state of Michigan isn't too far away. So I think you're going to see a lot of Michigan and a lot of Illinois fans down in Indianapolis this weekend.
Yeah, I think the Big Ten will be well represented. You said, obviously, because of proximity, it'll be well represented. Arizona did have to come back in their game, but Michigan has really had the easiest time out of any of these schools to get to this to the Final Four here. So they are a 1.5-point favorite on DraftKings against Arizona. That'll be a great game. Illinois, the 1.5-point favorite against UConn. UConn was the 5.5-point underdog against Duke. So a lot of people believe that Illinois should be favored in this game, and rightfully so, that this should be not an easy game for them to win, but if they had gone up against Duke, that they would be the underdog. So it's only fitting that they are, a rightful favorite against UConn, and UConn having to come all the way back, hit the game-winning shot, that having to go through this. But they have the best coach left in this tournament. Dan Hurley is the best coach left in the Final Four. And so if he can get his guys ready for this, he's used to this. He's gone to the Final Four. This is his third Final Four in the last 4 years. If he can find a way to win this national championship, his third in the last 4 years, it would solidify him as the best coach in college basketball going right now, for sure.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. So we are heading down to Indy moments after the show, like in 6 or 7 minutes.
You're just counting down, man.
Well, no, I'm just setting the scene.
Okay.
Josh Graham will also be in Indy with us.
Are we driving him? We have to stop and pick him up?
Yeah, we're going to swing by Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah. Go pick up Josh on our way to Indianapolis. No, he's going to meet us there, but he'll join us tomorrow on the show, live from Radio Row. He'll join us on Friday as well. He'll have coverage of the Final Four and all of the coverage of the championship game on Monday as well. And make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app. That's where you can find all of the great coverage of the NCAA tournament and the Final Four. No, I was just saying, because we're leaving, like, as you plan for a road trip, did you bring snacks? Do you have snacks or anything? Are we going to stop for?
No,
what are we doing? I
didn't bring any snacks. I figure it's a 3-hour ride. I also, you're an adult. You're not. I'm not with my 3-year-old.
Well, you're a dad. You got snacks.
I don't
Dads
need to
are supposed to have snacks.
I don't need to pack snacks. You're an adult.
Got any goldfish or anything?
I usually do pack goldfish.
A fruit roll-up?
The cheese and the pretzel variety for my daughter, because she likes to have her choice. No, I didn't.
Pretzels. You got pretzels?
I think we're gonna have to stop. I'm hungry right now.
Little Five Guys?
I think, we are gonna have to stop for food. So I gotta find a Five Guys and get some extra fries for the trip as well.
Okay.
Fries are a great car.
Of course.
Food. You just reach in the bag and you grab fries and you go.
Easy.
What?
With your reaching in the bag, what are you doing there?
I'm just saying, man.
You can't. You're not human if you go and pick up food and there's fries involved, and you're driving and you don't snag a fry.
Yeah.
There's never been a situation where I've taken the food from the drive-thru, put it in the passenger seat, and did not start eating fries.
Yeah. What are you doing?
And then when you pull into the driveway, you take the other fry and then you even them out.
Even them out a little bit.
So then she doesn't know.
Yeah,
she doesn't know that you ate some of her
those fries anyway. Come on.
Well, but if you even it out from the start, you're going to get the bonus fries at the end because she's going to say, "Oh, I'm full," and then you're oh, great, I get more fries. And
you walk in and you're like, "Oh, they didn't give us a lot of fries. What's going on here?"
I know we're wrapping up the show here. Within 40 seconds, did I see this right? We're going to the moon?
We're going around the moon.
Oh.
We're not going to the moon.
Okay.
We're going to do like a figure 8 or something like that, I think, around the moon. It's the next step.
I was pumped. I thought we were going back to the moon.
No. It's too hard.
Not you and I, like astronauts.
No, we're going to Indy.
They're flying.
They're trying to.
It's tonight, right?
Yeah, they're going to go around the moon and then back. We'll see if we can make it to Indy before they do that.
Wait, they're just going around the moon. What's the point of that?
Just to see it.
Okay.
See the dark side of the moon.
All right. It's Bleck Abdalla. We will talk to you live tomorrow from Indy. Jim Rome is coming up next here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.